a CRN original.
Attention, you are about to hear the captivating voice of an icon in the movie industry. You have heard him and seen him in performances in over 140 films. He's met and influenced many world leaders, and now he's about to tell you how to unite the America he loves.
That job's filled.
Unique. Brilliant. And unpredictable. Robert Davi is a Renaissance man who writes, directs, sings, and does it all with excellence.
Yes, okay, we're all very impressed, but let's get on with it now.
Robert Davi believes he should use his voice to both repay and help unite America, the America that made his dreams come true.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Robert Davi Show. Hello, friends. Mike Garey sitting in for Robert Davi, out in assignments, parts unknown. Special Projects Division, working on a very special project. Hopefully we might be able to start talking about that in the coming weeks, but it's been embargoed. I'm joined by Nick Davi. Nick, how are you?
I'm doing good, Mike. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Real fast, quite an exciting morning here for us at CRN Digital Talk Radio. Friend of the station, friend of the show, one William Shatner.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someday I'll talk about on the air Shatner's and I's tortured history, how kind of we're nemesises, but maybe we'll talk about that another time. Something to do with a crab beignet. William Shatner, friend of the show, friend of the station, met him several times. My man went to space. William Shatner on a Blue Origin rocket is now got his astronaut's wings. Not only is he, captain of the Enterprise, not only is he 90 years old, and he looks great for 90.
Captain Kirk isn't fake. He's real.
He's real. He's real, folks. He has boldly gone where some men have gone before, but no 90-year-old. He now becomes the oldest person ever to enter space. He's got the right stuff. I believe the previous record was John Glenn, former astronaut and senator. John Glenn went up when he was about 78.
Yeah, so like 8 years younger, right? A full 8 years, or is that more?
I think that's 12.
Oh, wow.
We'll fix that in post. Well, so William Shatner, congrats. I mean, we were, Mike Horn, CEO and president of CRN Digital Talk, him and Shatner are really, really close friends. And, he was quite, I wouldn't say worried. Yeah, he was worried. He was apprehensive because unlike NASA, unlike some of these state-sponsored space agencies that spend billions of dollars, these are private companies. These are not regulated by the government. So it's pretty much just, if you got a couple million, or billion for that case, if you're Jeff Bezos lying around, you can build your own rocket and launch that baby off.
Pennies to him.
And he's probably got that in his couch cushions. And so a lot of us were just kind of worried, that, NASA has almost a 60-year pedigree of sending people into space. And these companies such as Blue Origin or Virgin Galactic or SpaceX, they're relatively new kids on the block.
They're growing pretty fast, though.
They are, especially SpaceX.
Pretty fast. I feel like they're going to eventually replace NASA.
I think you might be onto something there, because we can talk about, public versus private entrepreneurship and business and the efficiency of private businesses. Whereas NASA, it's a government agency, and so it goes through all the bureaucracies that entail. But we were watching with bated breath this morning, and William Shatner, when he came down off of his launch, he got kind of emotional. He said that's, it was incredible, it was unbelievable. And I can imagine, you're up there in space, and especially if, you're an older gentleman and you have, all the kind of philosophicalness of age to see the world, see the earth.
To see it how he does,
Yeah. See it, just as a small little blue ball in the background. It really gives you perspective.
Yeah, I probably would have been I probably would have been crying for other reasons after landing, probably for surviving, that I'm back on the planet.
I would have just slept through the whole thing because I'd be on like 6 Ambien like I do when I fly, so I wouldn't be able to move my arms.
Oh god.
A couple of stories in the news we should talk about. Coach John Gruden of the Oakland Raiders, This has been the kind of the big story in sports.
Probably not just in sports, probably one of the biggest stories right now.
I was watching the Dodger game at Ruth Chris Steakhouse in Pasadena Monday night when this news broke that he resigned. And the reporting is that he resigned, but kind of the word around the campfire is that team owner Mark Davis kind of gave him the nudge.
Yeah.
And the reason for this resignation, this controversy, are over decade-old emails that came to light, I believe, through discovery and litigation. I'm not going to repeat what he said because I'm not going to get canceled.
Yeah, it's misogynistic stuff.
Yeah, homophobic,
stuff,
racist language. I mean, he used terrible slurs.
Yeah.
But he has resigned. And
terrible person, but it's very unfortunate for the Raiders because they were having somewhat of a good season.
Yeah, there's been a lot of debate whether or not if they were still 4-0, if they were really, really, laying the wood on the field, if he would have stayed. But I don't know. It seems that, these emails, they were private conversations. He didn't say this in public. Should that matter?
It shouldn't matter. It doesn't change what it is, but it is what's strange to me. This doesn't change the human being that John Gruden is. He's a terrible person, misogynistic, obviously. But it's still kind of strange how someone had to do this. Somebody dug through his emails, 11 years worth of emails, to find this. And it's just kind of, I don't know. What does that mean for you? It's definitely a weird thing for me.
He is a public figure. It should be noted that a lot of these emails that were uncovered were written while he was at ESPN, but he is, as a football coach, a leader of men. So I see kind of two sides here. I can see the player's perspective where you're a head coach, a league that's predominantly African-American, composed of African-American players, and your coach has used terribly racist language. We're talking Reconstruction era racist tropes and stereotypes and language. And so, of course, you're going to lose the locker room. And so, just from a team sport perspective, he had to go.
Definitely, especially from the Raiders, because the Raiders are known as one of the more diverse,
progressive franchises.
Yeah.
I believe they have the first openly gay player on the team as well.
Also, first black coach to ever coach a team.
Art Monk, that's correct. Yeah, very well stated.
Yeah,
and so I can see why this had to happen. Also, there's a certain mentality of the football coach, football team ownership, football team front office that is still living in the past. Talked about this with John Merchant a while back off the air, where you see this a lot in college football especially, but even in the pros, where it's a plantation mentality. And that has to do with certain economic factors, non-guaranteed contracts in the NFL. It's the only professional sports league with non-guaranteed contracts.
Yeah, if you want more info on this, all you got to do is watch that show on HBO called Ballers with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I feel like that really shows exactly what's going on.
Or even Hard Knocks as well. The old trope, bring your playbook.
Yeah.
That means you're getting cuts. And so these guys, sacrifice their body, sacrifice their mental acuity. We've all seen what's happening with CTE. And they have non-guaranteed contracts, meaning they can cut at any time. The top tier players, the quarterbacks, often the white quarterbacks, will get a boatload of guaranteed money up front. The rank and file, not so much. John Gruden, will he recover from this? Probably
no way.
Not.
There's no way in this day and age you can recover from that.
ESPN, they have become very, very cognizant of the way that they're perceived politically. They're trying to serve two different masters, both right-leaning and left-leaning. Hasn't been working out for a while for them.
Yeah.
But John Gruden, he's a Super Bowl champion in Tampa Bay. Keyshawn Johnson, who played on that team, had some very harsh remarks. He called him a used car salesman. Called him a fraud and a liar.
Because it made him emotional. He wasn't... I feel him on that because that's one of my biggest, I don't know if I'd call it a pet peeve, but I just don't like this about people when they front who they are. They're not really telling you who they truly are. They're lying.
And that's important too, because a head football coach, especially John Gruden, who's kind of known as a player's coach, he has a kind of a paternalistic aura around him when the players, all football coaches do. And so when you have John Gruden being like, way to go, guy, way to go all the time, we're all in this together, and then down the road you find out that he's just a virulent racist.
It's pretty upsetting.
It's tough. And so people are saying this is cancel culture. I don't necessarily think it's cancel culture. I mean, the man canceled himself.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have an expectation of privacy in your own corporate emails? I don't send out that kind of stuff in my emails.
I don't either. That's definitely very strange. I don't know. It's just a weird situation. Whatever, he's not going to recover from this. He's definitely going to have to invest in some stocks because he ain't going to get any paychecks for some time.
Well, and also what's really galling for him is that by resigning rather than being fired, the Raiders don't have to pay off the remainder of his contract, and I believe he has $90 million still left on his contract.
Jesus.
I mean, the man has made enough money in his career up to this point to live quite comfortably for the rest of his life. But when you leave $90 million on the table, so folks, piece of advice. When you're writing an email, even if you think it's never going to get out there, even if you're texting your buddies, just picture that $90 million right there, sitting on a little platform, and then just imagine someone walking up with a gas can and lighting that $90 million on fire. John Gruden, you pooped the money bed. Davi, be right back.
I'm Al Simon, 91 years young. I created Balance 7 20 years ago. At 67, I went to see the doctor for the first time in my life and found that I had medical problems. He told me that was normal for my age. I don't believe God intended us to be sick and old. I decided to find something to bring my health back. For 10 years, I studied pH and how important it is to the human system. Balance 7 gave me back what I lost by getting older. I no longer get out of bed with a joint discomfort. Balance 7 can do for you what it has done for me and many others. In 3 days' time, you'll feel more energy, less joint discomfort, and clarity of thinking. No doctor or hospital can do what Balance 7 can do for you. Balance 7 is the key to unlocking the healthy immune system. Bring your body back to balance. Order now. Receive free shipping with the code word AL. Go to balance7.com. That's balance7.com. Order now and get your free shipping and a free gift with your order. Go to balance7.com. Use the code word AL.
Keep listening for a free offer from US Med. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of sticking your fingers over and over again. By simply wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of sticking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar daily and administering insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call today and learn about the latest CGM technology. We'll send you a free ebook telling you all you need to know about CGMs. A CGM can immediately reduce pain. It's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. Your new CGM may be covered by Medicare or private insurance. Call now to learn more. 800-524-9313. 800-524-9313. That's 800-524-9313.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Actor, director, singer, and father, Robert Davi.
Would you welcome my friend Robert Davi?
Robert Davi is with me now from LA.
Robert Davi.
Welcome back. Mike Garey sitting in for Robert Davi, CRN Digital Talk Radio, CRNTalk.com, Facebook.com/CRNTalk. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to be sitting in Robert's chair where Robert's out on assignment. A special project, part of our CRN Special Projects Division. He's out there in the field working on an important project that we're going to talk about later on. Embargoed for now, but we're going to talk about very important. But I'm very pleased and honored to be joined by a very special guest here. He's Mr. Michael A. Letts, founder and president, In-VestUSA. You can find him at InVestUSA.org. That's INVESTUSA.org. Michael, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Mike. It's always a privilege to be on a show that's doing so much to make a positive impact on its community.
Well, I appreciate that, Michael, and it's my honor because I have never spoken to... get a load of this title, folks. We are in the presence of greatness, folks. His Excellency Count Sir Michael A. von Letts, Chevalier, Knight of Honor of the Imperial Teutonic Order. What's that all about?
Well, that and $1.50 will get you a cup of coffee. I used to say $1, but they tell me that by showing my dating myself, so it's $1.50 now to get you a cup of coffee. But to give you the story on that, we donated quite a few vests to the German government during the time of crisis, probably about 15 years ago. And after that, I just saw the need, had them sent over. My secretary answered the phone, said that there is I didn't realize they had a monarch. There was a Prince von Walkenberg on the phone wanting to give me an honorary title of knighthood. I thought it was funny. I thought everybody was giving me a joke, so I was about to hang up. But it was real. We got knighted, and they didn't hit my ear with a sword, so I still have both of them. I'm thankful for that.
Both ears are intact. Well, congratulations. That's a great honor. And Michael, you're the founder and president and CEO of In-VestUSA, which is a national grassroots nonprofit organization that is helping hundreds of communities provide thousands of bulletproof vests for their police forces through educational, public relations, sponsorship, and fundraising programs. In addition to your, national efforts, you also are actively involved in political and community service in South Carolina, also in the Boy Scouts of America. Shout out to the Boy Scouts of America. I am an Eagle Scout. It was an amazingly important thing in my life. And so let's talk a little bit about In-VestUSA.
We started In-VestUSA, a national charity to provide active shooter vests, bulletproof vests for officers in need who did not have them. You'd be surprised. When we started in 1993, 52% of law enforcement officers did not have a protective vest. We got that down to 28%, and then, of course, the criminal element got a little more sophisticated. They started using assault rifles, which those in the industry will tell you that a concealable vest, or the ones you see under their shirt, will only stop a sidearm, not a rifle round. And so we had to go back to the drawing board, develop new technology called active shooter vests with titanium plates. So basically stop anything that's out on the market. And now, unfortunately, 92% of officers across the country do not have active shooter vests, and we're losing about one officer a day. Amazing the situation is at all-out assault on first responders.
That's an amazing statistic right there. So let me just clarify. So the majority of bulletproof vests that we kind of know, the civilians, the laymen like myself know, those are the Kevlar vests, which are pretty effective against handgun rounds. But as you've seen, as you just outlined, is that the criminal element out there is more heavily armed with high velocity assault rifles, and the vests that you guys provide, these active shooter vests, will defeat those high velocity rounds, correct?
That's correct. I'll give your listeners a quick example. We just gave out active shooter vests in Georgia, Dalton, Georgia, and we did it in honor of Captain Biswell, who was lost his life in the line of duty 3 months ago. He had a concealable vest on, but the assailant had an AK-47, shot right through the car, right through the door, went right through his concealable vest and him, and right out the other side of the other car door. That's just what we're up against nowadays.
Wow, that's just terrible. And not to get political here, but to get political, how do you feel that the degree of the defund the police movement has on this shooting in Georgia, and what accountability or consequences, if any, are there for the leaders of that movement?
Well, their blood the blood of dead officers is certainly on their hands. They have created an atmosphere to where it's not just defunding the police, it's loathing the police and to try to give them a bad reputation. That has made a direct impact on how the criminal element has taken bold measures to try to engage and assault officers, and even not just the criminal element. Community at large just seems to not have the respect they once had for America's finest, and that's just a real crying shame.
It is really a crying shame because, I grew up, police officers were the people that helped you. They're the people that gave you directions, that were always nice and respectful. And it seems that this has been propagated by the media, that police are now seen as the enemy, which is so unfair to all those hardworking first responders and police out there.
It is. And I tell people, of course, they'll see this if they go to our website, but we are experiencing the lowest morale in history for first responders, for law enforcement officers. So I tell people, as much as I want you to contribute towards helping provide them a vest, even before that, what I want you to do, find a first responder in your area, because they're assigned by area. He knows your streets, I'm sure. And make sure you wave to him or go up to the car and stick out your hand and say, you know what, thank you for your service. I want to try to cover your back the same way you cover ours. It will make a world of difference in their performance and their ability to keep this thin blue line from crumbling altogether.
And you founded the company called In-Vest. What else is In-VestUSA doing to assist officers across the country? You guys are giving great vests, these great active shooter vests, which will protect officers not only from handgun rounds, but also from assault rifle rounds. What else are you guys doing, and how can me and our listeners help?
Well, there's a couple very important elements that I need to bring to your listeners' attention that In-VestUSA is involved with for our first responders. First of all, most people do not realize that the FBI statistics show that within 3 years, this is before Black Lives Matter, we were going to have a shortage of first responders. You were going to start getting a recording when you dial 911. State your emergency, please leave a message, we'll get back with you. Well, if somebody's kicking in your front door, you don't want somebody to get back to you. You want somebody to respond now. So we were already having a crisis situation. In-VestUSA is now working to put in public charter high schools all across the country that will concentrate on its graduates having not only their high school diploma, a 2-year associate degree, but will also be certified either a firefighter, class 3 police officer, or a paramedic and can go to work the next day to be service in our community. So that's extremely important, because if we don't do that, this country is going to be in a crisis situation without proper response of first responders.
Now that's so heartening to see that you're providing, a path forward for people that, kids that want to become first responders, because as I know, a lot of, as a Boy Scout, and also, a lot of people who know Explorer Scouts out there involved in law enforcement, they grow up wanting to be police officers and first responders, and for you to allow them that kind of training, that's just yeoman's work you guys are doing. We got about a minute to go. Mike, where can we go for more information? Do you guys take donations? How can we help you guys out in Invest?
I tell people quick things that they can do. Go to our website, INVESTUSA.org. It's a charity.org. You'll find a lit-through of things there on the website, but very quickly, first make sure you tell your first responders in your area thank you. Build them morale. Second of all, if you're able, contribute to help make sure they have the vest they need to come home safely to their families. Thirdly, you need to be armed. You can't protect and help our first responders if you can't protect yourself. And then fourthly, you need to speak out. Now is the time. The line is crumbling. It cannot repair itself. Unless the American public reaches out and says, we're standing behind you, we will lose our thin blue line, and we will go into anarchy and lose all the freedoms that we are enjoying to this date.
InvestUSA.org, folks. InvestUSA.org. Thank you, Michael. You're doing great work.
Have you heard about Vine to Bar chocolate? It's the winemaker's chocolate, the world's first chocolate made with well-vined Chardonnay marc from the beautiful coastal vineyards of North America. Gently pressed grapes are harvested after juicing, dried and finely milled and carefully blended into the finest dark chocolate. The Chardonnay marc contains highly beneficial grape nutrients, flavanols, and has a natural sweetness that flavors the luscious dark chocolate. Mouth-watering, flavorful, delectable dark chocolate goodness with Chardonnay sweetness and beneficial nutrients. And it's alcohol-free, too. It's Vine to Bar chocolate. Order some today at vinetobar.com. That's VINETOBAR.com. Cold shipped to your door, it's Vine to Bar. Vine to Bar chocolate. Visit us at vinetobar.com.
Let's talk about your credit cards. When you first start using them, it's a slow drip. You make charges, then more charges, then bills come, and they keep coming. When you open your statements, the floodgates come pouring in. You realize you have more credit card debt than you can afford, and you're barely making the minimum payments. Wouldn't it be nice to make one affordable payment and have all your credit card bills covered? Make this free call and learn our responsible way to get your credit card bills paid and under control.
Sponsored by Consumer Education Services, a nonprofit organization.
800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. That's 800-876-3643.
CESI is not a loan company. The establishment of a debt management plan may adversely affect your credit rating. Non-payment of debt may lead creditors to increase finance and other charges to undertake collection activity, including liquidation.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212.
For the getaway of your dreams, come to Hawaii's Playground, Ka'anapali Beach Resort, on the fun side of Maui, where the world comes to play. Find your spot on Ka'anapali Beach with 3 miles of white sand, 12 resort properties, 2 golf courses, and 2 shopping centers. Enjoy the playground of Hawaii's ancient royalty. Ka'anapali Beach Resort is Hawaii's original master plan destination resort and home of the Hawaii Food and Wine Festival. With views of 2 neighboring islands, you can breathe in the land's natural beauty from your favorite resort or golf fairway. Come experience Ka'anapali's own special brand of Hawaiian hospitality with world-class dining, relaxing resorts, water sports, and activities of every kind. For romantic, family, and great friend getaways, discover the options of Ka'anapali Beach Resort, where the world comes to play. Plan your getaway today. Visit Ka'anapaliResort.com. That's KAANAPALI Resort.com.
The Robert Davi Show.
This is authentic. Una furtiva lacrima negli occhi.
And we're back. Mike Garey sitting in for Robert Davi on assignment. Thank you so much to Michael Letts, founder and president of In-VestUSA. Make sure to check out InVestUSA.org. That's INVESTUSA.org. So we talked about John Gruden in the first segment. Now let's talk about one Dave Chappelle. I'm sure you guys have seen this out there. Dave Chappelle, some might consider him one of the greatest comedians of all time. He concluded his Netflix special run with The Closer, a comedy special that Netflix produced and aired most recently. Mr. Chappelle has been getting a lot of guff. Let's look at some of the headlines here regarding this comedy special, The Closer. LA Times. Netflix's David Chappelle special, The Closer, is gaslighting at its finest.
Gaslighting? Really?
Mm-hmm. Breaking down the controversy around David Chappelle's Netflix special, The Closer. It's comedy, folks. It's comedy. So the crux of the controversy here, and controversy, I'm using that term loosely, is that Mr. Chappelle had a lot of jokes about trans people. Nick, you watched it, right?
Yes, I did. I did watch it. I thought it was I thought it was great, personally. I loved the special. I know it's getting a lot of hate, and so is Chappelle. But like you said, it's comedy. Like, are we not supposed to laugh at anything?
And this controversy, perhaps this was intentional. If so, David Chappelle is one of the most brilliant arbiters of public thought in history, because he completely proved his point. The crux of the comedy special, one of the great things about Dave Chappelle's comedy specials is that it's not setup joke. There's a through line where he'll kind of shade a theme and then touch on that theme throughout the special and show you the contradictions that a lot of people have about that particular theme that he's talking about. And the overarching theme, at least from my perspective when I watched it, and I believe he said this verbatim, is that the LGBT community, they want to be intersectional. Intersectional meaning that's, all disparate communities share together in one common form to oppose oppression. But his stance is that the LGBT community wants that intersectionality, but then rejects that intersectionality whenever there's critique towards them. And he's been called now a TERF because he says he agrees with TERFs. And TERFs has become, you don't want to use that term. TERF is an acronym for a trans exclusionary radical feminist. He's also getting a lot of guff for saying that he believes that there is gender, that there is just two distinct genders. And there was a time in the 60s and 70s, Judith Butler, one of the great theoretical sociological scholars out there regarding gender, she had a theory out there that there is no gender, that gender is meaningless because, who came up with the concept of boy versus girl? That's a human constructed concept. And there's great debate about that. And there's great academic writing to read about that. But now, that debate's been canceled. You can't say that. You can't say that there's two distinct genders. You can't say that gender is not a sociological constructed concept. Because that means you're anti-trans. And it seems that Dave Chappelle completely proved his point because they're trying to cancel him.
Right as the show opened, he proved his point.
The example he used, inelegant as it might be, but quite effective, is he talked about a hip-hop artist called DaBaby. And I was unaware of this story, that the DaBaby shot a dude at Walmart. He didn't get canceled for that. But he goes on stage and says some unkind things about the LGBT community, and he gets canceled. So what's more important? Shooting another African-American at Walmart, and yet having a career continue, or saying some inartful things about the LGBT community? And look, I love my LGBTQ brothers and sisters out there. But since when did they become the final arbiters of what can be said and not said on a comedy stage?
Literally.
Shouldn't that be left to the audience? The audience was laughing.
Everybody, well,
there was two in the front. If you hadn't noticed that.
Besides,
that's getting
a
men pretty hard.
handful of people sprinkled in there, There had to be a few salty people, But
I laughed.
I was
rolling.
I was dying.
And Dave Chappelle, when asked about this, he was, approached by TMZ, and they asked him, and he says, "I'm uncancelable, and even if I do get canceled, I'm fine with it." So Twitter's not real life. And so I was scrolling through Twitter, shortly after the special to see the reaction, because I knew this was going to be a controversy. And there were so many comments saying, "I can't believe Dave Chappelle said what he said. No, I didn't watch it, but I can't believe what he said."
But why? He's speaking the truth.
And how can you critique something that you haven't actually listened to in the context of the whole special itself? Because he puts it up, his African-Americanness, he juxtaposes that. Where African-Americans are being killed.
Yeah.
But yet, the LGBT community, who's gone through a lot and still has great strides to make, they want to throw that intersectionality that they talk about so frequently off to the wayside. So, I mean, Dave Chappelle, and now it's funny too, is that Dave Chappelle, who's, had very critical things to say about institutional racism, about over-policing, now he's being embraced by the right. And he's a comedian, folks. His job is not to please the people on Twitter. His job's not to please the people at The Intercept or The Guardian or the LA Times or The Atlantic or GQ. GQ just wrote an article murdering him. He's a stand-up comedian. The final judgment of his material is the audience. Seems to me the audience liked it. I liked it.
I liked it.
I thought it was poignant.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about a trans friend of his. I won't spoil it, but... And now we're seeing Flame Monroe, an African-American trans comic, told reporters that she's not in favor of taking down Dave's new Netflix special, The Closer, because that's become a petition. People are actually petitioning Netflix to remove the special itself. And also, there's reporting that just broke right now that certain Netflix employees will stage a walkout in protest.
Wow. Soon we're not going to be able to talk about anything. Think about it.
And Flame Monroe, this African-American trans comic, she's told reporters that she's not in favor of taking down the special because she says that the world in comedy, nothing's off limits. I mean, go back to, the godfathers of comedy. Lenny Bruce. Lenny Bruce colored outside the lines. He's now considered a legend. And it's also, Dave Chappelle's been accused of punching down. Punching down meaning that David Chappelle, because of his economic privilege, he should not make jokes about the LGBT community because they are an oppressed people. Dave Chappelle's an African American in America, folks.
They're saying they're oppressed.
There's enough oppression to go around. You don't need to win the oppression war. I'm the most oppressed group. This is what's happened with the left. It's ridiculous, folks. It's comedy. Davi, back in a minute.
If you've got a small business, you know there's nothing more valuable than your time. So why waste it at the post office? Stamps.com makes it easy to mail and ship right from your computer. No special equipment required. Whether you're an office sending invoices, a side hustle Etsy shop, or a full-blown warehouse shipping out orders, Stamps.com will make your life easier. You'll even get exclusive discounts on postage and shipping from USPS and UPS. And their new Rate Advisor tool lets you compare shipping rates across carriers so you always find the best option. Save time and money with Stamps.com. There's no risk, and when you go to Stamps.com and use offer code FOCUS, you'll receive a 4-week free trial, plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top and enter code FOCUS. That's Stamps.com, promo code FOCUS. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again.
For the getaway of your dreams, come to Hawaii's Playground, Ka'anapali Beach Resort, on the fun side of Maui, where the world comes to play. Find your spot on Ka'anapali Beach with 3 miles of white sand, 12 resort properties, 2 golf courses, and 2 shopping centers. Enjoy the playground of Hawaii's ancient royalty. Ka'anapali Beach Resort is Hawaii's original master planned destination resort and home of the Hawaii Food and Wine Festival. With views of 2 neighboring islands, you can breathe in the land's natural beauty from your favorite resort or golf fairway. Come experience Kaanapali's own special brand of Hawaiian hospitality with world-class dining, relaxing resorts, water sports, and activities of every kind. For romantic, family, and great friend getaways, discover the options of Kaanapali Beach Resort, where the world comes to play. Plan your getaway today. Visit KaanapaliResort.com. That's KAANAPALI Resort.com.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day, and for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
855-525-7454. 855-525-7454. That's 855-525-7454.
The Robert Davi Show.
Mike? You let me down, Mike. You're making me look bad. I thought we had an understanding. And all I expect is a little cooperation!
Sorry, Robert. And we're back. Robert Davi. I'm Mike Garey, sitting in for Mr. Davi on assignment. We broadcast this show live out of Hollywood, California. So I don't want to necessarily make this an industry-focused show, but, you know, Robert's a legend in Hollywood, and Nick the Young Shooter here, he's breaking in to the business. And this might be a big story moving forward. Nick, we were in a drought for this past 18 months on COVID. We were all locked down. Sounded like a really good time. You know, you're locked down, can't do anything. Bars are closed, restaurants are closed, can't travel. Sounded like a good time to Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
But just as we were locked down, all the productions were locked down too. So we had this desert, this dryness, this drought, no new content for almost a year. I was dying.
Nothing.
The only thing that was out there was Ted Lasso season 2, and you can see that didn't work out too well.
Literally watching movies is probably one of my favorite things to do on this planet.
You and me both. And I love premium television dramas. Mm-hmm. I love Succession. It's a great show. I love Stranger Things.
I gotta watch Succession. I gotta get on that. And Stranger Things, oh my God, wait, when is that coming back? Because I love that.
2025 probably.
Are you kidding me?
Netflix, you know, they take very long hiatuses.
They're gonna be 30 years old.
I know, it's gonna be really, they're gonna have like beards. Yeah, it's gonna be full beards. But it was tough. But now we're seeing, you know, finally, you know, because of protocols, and Nick can speak to this in a minute, you know, protocols regarding COVID filming, where you had like an A team and a B team. You had very strict testing protocols, vaccination protocols. We're finally getting some content back on the air. Finally. We got Curb Your Enthusiasm starting this month. We have Succession season 3 starting this month.
I can't wait for Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm sorry, but Larry David is a comedic genius.
Also, his takes on COVID are going to be quite interesting too.
Remember in the most recent season they had, I think it was, now last season, that one episode where he was wearing that Trump hat and he was just wearing it so people would stay away from him.
He's a genius for sure.
Oh, his mind, it's a wonderful thing.
And so finally, you know, all these people out here so hungry for new content are finally get what they want. But now, next week, everything might come to another crashing halt because IATSE, which is the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees International. It's a union. Members are like the crew, like the drivers, the gaffers, you know, the production assistants, pretty much. They're going on strike. That would shut down not only every television production, but also every theatrical production nationwide.
Well, I mean, Obviously, this sucks. This is like the worst thing. This is like some of the worst news we can get.
It's heartbreaking. And you read some of the demands that the IATSE union has, it seems kind of reasonable because, I mean, Nick, you can speak to this too. You've worked on, as an actor on projects before, and these guys work hard.
I've seen, it's crazy. Some people are so dedicated to what they do. It's pretty much labor. They're running, sweating, trying to get things in time, building sets literally from the ground up. All kinds of things. So I definitely understand why they're doing this, but I hope it's something that can be figured out very quickly because I can't go too long without a new movie out.
Exactly.
I need something to watch.
Yeah, we need something, folks. And some of the demands of IATSE, obviously they want better wages, but mostly what they want are better working conditions, specifically turnaround. Turnaround meaning that, let's say you work from 10, because it's a 24-hour business. You have night shoots and all that. Let's say you work from 6 in the morning, because these guys wake up early, 6 in the morning till 6 at night, and then they want you back at midnight till 6 the next day.
Yeah, same thing goes for the actors.
Same thing goes for the actors, but actors are contract workers, so they already understand that moving forward. Yeah. Whereas the IATSE guys, these are hourly wage guys. I mean, I have friends that work as PAs, and they sometimes have to sleep in their car because of those turnaround issues.
So usually with issues like this, when they happen is when they're trying to film a movie in a certain amount of time. Say they have like literally this amount of days exactly to film. So they're trying to fit it. It's a hard thing to do, to fit a movie into like 3 weeks, which they do all the time.
Yeah, your line producer comes out and he creates a budget, and he's going to say, okay, this shoot is going to take 21 days.
Yes.
And that's for a small independent movie. For a studio film, it could be months.
Yeah.
And on a large studio film, that's about $500,000 a day.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it is so hard to finish a movie in 21 days. It's literally almost impossible, but these people get it done. They do what's asked of them. And they're showed very little appreciation. And also, at the end of the day, this is all up to the producers. This all lies on the producers.
Yeah, they're pretty much the management side on this is going to be the studio system. It's going to be also these new streaming services, and the streaming services have different language built into their contracts with IATSE, because at the beginning, these streaming services, when these contracts were first drafted, they were the kind of up-and-coming newcomers, so they weren't as profitable on paper as the big studios were, and so they got kind of a break. But now, I mean, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, HBO Max, Disney Plus, they're the kings of the castle, especially because of the lockdown.
They've got everything.
They've seen their subscribership go through the roof because we couldn't go out to the theaters. HBO Max, very smart. They started doing same-day releases on their platforms.
Oh my, I love HBO for that, by the way. Even though it's probably going to end up making the movie theaters go extinct, which was already kind of happening to begin with. Yes, but this is definitely speeding it up. I'm definitely gonna miss going to the movie theaters, because it used to be what everyone did on a Friday night or Saturday or Sunday. This stems back to the 50s, 40s even.
But this is capitalism, though, folks. I mean, if the movie theaters actually gave people a great movie theater experience,
very true.
If they didn't keep, and if they did do it, like the ArcLight. I like the ArcLight a lot. That's a great movie going experience. ArcLight tickets are like $17.50 a piece. Got to pay for the parking too. And then you sit down and you get hosed with like 20 minutes of commercials even before the movie starts. And so if, certain businesses have tried this, certain upscale theaters where you can actually have a nice cocktail there, a meal as well. They've tried that, but that's too high market. And so there's going to be a better bicycle built for the movie theater experience. I don't think theaters are going to go away altogether, but someone needs a better business model.
How about each movie ticket you purchase is one free thing of popcorn? Because think about it, how much money do they make per ticket nowadays? What, $15? Some places it's $20, even $30 a ticket.
And the cost structure has changed too. I mean, with digital projection, A single print of film. You know, back when we were kids, you go to the movie theater, they'd have the big reel.
Yeah.
To develop that reel, that's a couple grand right there. Yeah. Now they just send a file out. And also there's consolidation. A lot of the theater chains were scooped up by large corporations. But back to the ad, see, these guys, they work hard. They do deserve better working conditions.
Well, here's the thing with working conditions. That's going to be a tough one because some sets, like if you're filming a movie, like, for example, the new movie coming out soon, Dune, a big portion of it is shot in some pretty rural, like, areas, you know what I mean? So it's gonna be tough conditions. Like, my dad shot a movie like 20 years ago in the Amazon rainforest, and he couldn't drink water for like over a month. He had to just drink beer because there's no clean water.
Sounds good to me.
So yeah, but unfortunately there's nothing you can do about the working conditions, but you can up their pay.
But I'd see, though, they got to be careful. They can't overplay their hand here, otherwise they'll be hoisted on their own petard.
That's the thing.
Because what'll happen is if these guys get a huge contract or they go on strike, what you're going to see is you're going to see production go abroad. And we already have seen that.
It's going to turn into a dramatic, very dramatic situation, almost like the Buffalo Sabres situation with their former captain Jack Eichel, their superstar player, like where he wants to be traded, but now they won't trade him in spite of him, and I just feel like it's going to turn into that, and it's going to carry on over to next year.
And also, it should be noted too that the studios, you know, it's not 1950 anymore. You don't have Jack Warner sitting behind his gold-plated desk with a big cigar. These guys got killed during COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, massive, massive losses. And so I think IATSE thinks that maybe the studios are weak right now so they can get a better bargain. But that's a bad business decision. These studios can't afford to pay this kind of stuff.
It's a terrible idea.
They're going to drive production out of state, which is going to have a ripple effect on the entire economy in the state and the entire Southwest. So these guys work hard. IATSE, they work real, real hard. But there needs to be a better accounting of the industry as a whole. I know a guy, he drives one of these semi-trucks who carry the generators for films.
Yeah.
He's a teamster because he drives the truck.
Yep.
And he's an International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers because he operates the generator. Makes $175 an hour. And 90% of that hour, he's sitting in a chair, reading a book. So I hope they get this worked out. I need some content. I do not want to see what happens with COVID where there are shows on air that were still in the back half of production and they had to go on hiatus. So hopefully these guys can work it out.
They will, but I just have a feeling it's going to turn into a long, long process, unfortunately.
All right, folks. Thank you so much. See you guys soon. Take care. God bless America.
God bless America.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane tickets, domestic or international, is to call SmartFares first or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane tickets. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and SmartFares can save you up to 75% on your plane tickets. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500